Welcome to episode 7 of the Cubbie Climb. I'm Jacob. We got Blake over here. I did the direction right this time. We got Blake over here, and then to his other side is Brett. We'll get there. It's like we'll get there eventually. But yeah, I'm Jacob. We got Blake and Brett. Episode 7. We got a packed episode for you guys on a lovely Tuesday morning. Before we get started, how's it going, guys?
Good. It's bright and early for me. You guys got the 11 o'clock. I got the 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock's not early, but I just like to poke fun about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, got another long week ahead before the All-Star break for us, so pretty excited to we're able to stay home before All-Star break, which is pretty nice too. So,
do you guys do you have anything fun planned for the All-Star break? Just hanging around, or are you gonna go travel anywhere?
yeah, I'm going home, so I'll get to see my family. Head back to Minnesota. Spend some time with some buddies that are still there. So,
Very nice.
Have we discussed golf? Do you golf at all, Brett? And if so, no, you don't. Okay.
no,
I know we've discussed it, but I couldn't remember because I know Blake does. I couldn't remember if you would, because that seems like a perfect All-Star weekend. I'm back home. What's golf sort of activity?
He'll come around. It's
Yeah,
never too late.
absolutely.
There's the clips of LeBron golfing. So I mean, if he can do it at 41, then Brett can pick it up at some point too. He'll come around.
Yeah, true. We'll see.
We'll
I
talk him
like.
into it eventually.
I'm more of a hit on Seabird Field at the University of Minnesota type guy than golf on these All-Star break days under the lights. That's probably what I'll be doing every night. So
he's got to stick to the grind. He's too committed to the grind. We'll get him on golf eventually. But I think the big story here is that you are on the IL. You haven't played in over a week. So obviously you started the year with an injury. You didn't miss as much time as expected per se originally with the hamate injury, but now you ran into a wall and you got injured. So A+ effort, so clearly helping the team out. But what do you know how long you'll be on the IL, or any sort of how bad the injury is?
yeah, so first of all, caught the ball, which was the most important thing about it. But yeah, did an ultrasound. We took a look at it. There's some knee damage a little bit, but it's nothing really serious. It was a 1 week IL. So hopefully we're gonna be back sometime this week. Got to build up a little bit since can't really hop right back into a game, especially as a center fielder after sitting for a whole week. So there's going to be a little bit of that, but yeah, we should for sure be good this week. Just bumped into the wall a little too hard at full speed, shifted the knee around a little bit, kind of blew up on me. So it was pretty much a no-brainer that I wasn't going to be able to play this last week after doing it, not this last Sunday, but the Sunday before that. So that was 8 days ago, 9 days ago. But yeah, we should be back here pretty soon. Hopefully, I hope middle of this week. But like I said, there's a little bit of a buildup that I have to do, and some of it is unfortunately out of my hands. Even if I do feel good, they want to make sure that I've built the distance, and I can kind of prove that I have to run bases and stuff like that. So there isn't any lurking injury underneath.
What does that build-up entail? Because we see players go on the IL all the time. Right now, or I should say in the last week, are you doing any physical activity, or do you just sit there and make sure it fully heals, and then they want you to start running the bases, taking fly balls, and sort of starting to do those activities again?
Yeah, you nailed on the head. It's a lot of PT when we're not doing it. So the first 3 days I was on the IL, it was no baseball activity, just straight PT, hammering PT, getting good treatment to try and get the swelling down. And then later this last week, just started to do some baseball activities, but no hard running. And it depends on the injury. Like, for example, if it's a hitter that has a shoulder issue, they're going to probably try and keep his legs warm. So then all they have to do is get his arm back. But for me, since it's my legs, it's a little bit harder because I use that for everything. So it takes a little bit longer. But Yeah, these next few days will be probably hitting on the field, running bases, getting some touches on the pillows. Like you said, outfield work. Probably will be able to, like, I might be fully cleared to do all that stuff today, but I think the one thing that I still have to do is like I said, get distance. Um, and that's gonna take a little bit of time, unfortunately, but that's just how it is. So
Mm-hmm. Talk about the All-Star break. That's coming up for you guys too. Do you guys get that full week off, or I guess Sunday to or Monday to Thursday? Do you guys get those like full 4 days? Okay.
yeah, we
Um,
do. And then usually like almost every team hosts a optional workout on Thursday. We are so, but I would say like a majority, like when I was in South Bend last year and we had the All-Star break, um, it was we had an optional workout that Thursday evening for guys that were either in town or like for me, like I'm gonna be back for that. Like I don't want to miss it. Just
mhm.
to like you know get the feel of being back in Knoxville at the field. So even though like it's optional and you don't have to come back because Friday we play in Birmingham, I'm pretty sure. So that will be a Friday day. We'll probably leave on Friday morning. We won't leave Thursday. But yeah, I mean, I want to be back for that. So usually it's Monday through Thursday. Some guys are gonna probably leave Sunday night after our game because our game on Sunday I think is at 2 or 1. So guys will
Mhm.
probably leave after that. But yeah, it's that Monday through Thursday, and I'm gonna be cherishing those 3 to 4 days a lot. Not that I don't like baseball or I don't like being around, but it's just nice to have a few days off, be able to kind of do what you want to do. So
Yeah, that was kind of leading into my question. You kind of half answered it already. Obviously physically you're going to want some of that rest coming back from injury, but how important is those couple days for you guys mentally? I mean, as fans, the Cubs had an off day yesterday, and I was kind of sitting around in the afternoon twiddling my thumbs, thinking, "What am I supposed to do?" But for those guys, it probably feels like was one of the best days ever because for the first day in a couple weeks, they don't have to think about much other than just relaxing and resetting for the next day. So, how important is this break coming up for you guys mentally and you specifically to kind of reset yourself, get back in the groove? Or for you, is it, you mean you just talked about, you're going to be hitting under the lights probably most of those nights? Are you still just thinking about baseball, thinking of the goal at hand? Or are you kind of one of those guys that likes to just kind of block out and remember that there's other parts of life as well?
yeah, I mean, the thing, at least in minor leagues, major league might the schedule might be a little bit different, but in minor leagues, we have really long days. We get to the I'll probably get to the field around 1 today, 1:30, and we have a game at 7. So, um, hitting on the field during the off days, like during the All-Star break, will be just a small part of baseball compared to what I do, like what I'm gonna do today.
Hmm.
Whereas I'm at the field for, you know, almost 12 hours, 10 hours. That's a long time. Whereas when I'm home during the break, like I'm gonna wake up and I don't have to do baseball stuff. Like I'll probably like go lift, but then I have a long period of time until hypothetically I hit on the field or I hit in the cages at night. I'm just able to do what I want. And also there's a big difference in like knowing that you play a game that night. There's a lot of like mental stuff that you have to be locked in for. Whereas
Hmm.
if I'm just gonna hit on the field or like hit in the cages and just get some practice in, it's a lot different. So like from a major league side, I'm sure too, like they play we have more off days than they do. They play 7 games a week sometimes, so they don't even get a break. So just getting that break for them for sure is gotta be nice for them just to, like you said, like reset, not think about baseball. I'm sure some guys probably watch some video on the starter that's throwing tomorrow because they have a game still the next day, just to like have some sort of mental approach getting into like the next day. But yeah, for the most part, it's a big difference between minor and major leagues because I'm pretty sure that they don't hit on the field that much actually, but we hit on the field 3 4 days a week here in the minor leagues, which again is still a long time. Like we're out in the field for, like I said, out in the sun, it's like 90 95 degrees here in Knoxville for 3 to 4 hours, and then we have a game that's 3 hours long. So
Hmm.
it's a lot. So having those off days will definitely be pretty nice for some guys.
Well, that's something that I noticed yesterday. I went to the Red Sox game, and so I showed up for batting practice, and it was humid. It was probably 90 to 95 degrees, and these guys are out there early in long sleeves and pants, running and sprinting, and I'm like, whoa. Like, obviously, it is hard to be a major leaguer and to play baseball in general, but I didn't even think about, like, they're what, they don't have short sleeves, they don't have shorts, but you guys, the weather doesn't determine what you guys do. Like, if it's hot, it doesn't matter. You're still going to go and do that workout. In the game, something that, well, most fans understand, I don't know if they really comprehend, is how early you guys have to get there. Like you said, you get there at 1. That's 6 hours before game time, because it's not just show up at the field, hit, go home. You have to go there before the game and do the batting practice, do the PT, and then after the game, do you lift after the game? I know some players work out after the game. Do you normally do that, or do you head straight home?
No, usually I'll get there like I said, like we have hitters rally at like 2:30 or 3 hypothetically. I get there around 1:30 to lift before. Um, or I know some guys lift after though, for sure. Like they'll get a 30, 45-minute lift after. Cause I mean that's still not that bad. Like hypothetically, like I said, you have to get to the field at 1:32. You finish a game at 10, you lift at 10:30, 10:45, you get back to your apartment at 11:15, which isn't even it's not horrible at all. You go to bed at 12:30, wake up at 8:30, you still have a lot of time in that morning, afternoon to do stuff. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
I feel like that's something that people don't realize is how hard of a job, but how complicated it is, because there's so many different intricate things that you have to show up that early. It's not, oh, we have a night game. Cool. I don't have to show up until, 4 o'clock. No, you're showing up right after lunch. And for a day game, I mean, you're looking at probably like a 9 to 10 arrival time, if not earlier.
yeah.
Yeah.
Usually like when our Sunday games, probably have to get there around 11.
Okay.
Because usually we'll just hit in the cage on those days, but for the most part, like during those middle of the week games when we hit on the field, it's a lot earlier.
Mhm. We're talking about our game a little bit. I guess we can kind of talk about the MLB All-Star game. Your snub from the All-Star game. I assume you've seen kind of rosters and who's going and who isn't.
Yeah, pretty obvious one would be Seiya or Bush. I mean, there's a lot of Cubs position players that could be up there.
Mhm.
Is James Wood a reserve?
James Wood is a reserve.
Yes.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
not a starter.
Yeah, I remember people like they announced a starter and people were like freaking out about James Wood. And I'm like, he's gonna be a reserve at least. But yeah, I mean, I get the point that you have to like have a representative from every team in the All Star game, which makes sense. But fortunately, like there's only gonna be so many guys, and but it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing as fans to like argue and be like, yo, like we have guys that have better stats that have been more consistent than guys that are in the All Star game.
Mhm.
Like that didn't make it. Like that's as much as it sucks that they're not in the All Star game. Like you guys got to take a step back and be like, yo, like look how spoiled we are right now to have these guys be playing this high of a level to the point where like we're arguing with the wall that we need 6 representatives in All-Star games, 7 representatives. Pomeranz has been pitching really well, kind of
Mhm.
like that. So I mean, there's a lot of snubs. I would probably say Seiya, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who've had unbelievable first halves and absolutely deserve it from other teams as well. So
Juan Soto. How is Juan
yeah,
Soto not in?
yeah.
Yeah, no, me and Jacob were talking about that on Sunday night, talking about how, and I guess it'd be a good question for you, hypothetically in the future, we're talking about it, as fans, like you said, we argue with other fans of our guy should be in, our guy should be in it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter for us. It matters more as an accolade for the players. I mean, if you were in Seiya's shoes or Bush's shoes, are you thinking would you be thinking, oh, I didn't make an all-star team? Or like, is it, oh, I know I'm having a good season anyway, I'd rather have the days off? I mean, do you think it depends player by player, or do you think like that honor is so still respected amongst the players that it's like, no, if I deserve it, I need to be there. That's what I want to be doing.
Um, I would say like again, I don't I don't know for a fact, but I would say a lot of guys would see it as an honor, but at the end of the day, I don't think they'd care that much. Now again,
Yeah.
I can't speak for anyone because like I said, like maybe if I'm hitting this off season
Mhm.
with Bush, I can ask him about it and he can tell me and I can tell you. But like I would say like for me, if I knew that I had a good season or a good first half and I played well and I was efficient and was consistent and I didn't make it, it's not something that I lose sleep over.
Sure.
At the end of the day, I still get a break now. Like I don't have to like go do stuff. Not saying that the All Star game isn't cool. Like I'm sure
Mhm.
probably one of the best experiences, one of if not the best experience, is to be called an All Star. You get to have fun at a time during a break with a bunch of all the other All Stars in front of a bunch of fans in a super like celebratory mode. That's in the
Mhm.
middle of the season, which is really nice because it's a reset. But I would say like not to bang the All Star game, but it's not that deep, I guess. Like it's
Yeah.
just a selection. It's fan voting, which obviously makes it
Is
a
a
lot
mess.
different as well. Yeah. So wouldn't take it that deep, but for guys that deserve it, I absolutely could see why they would be like, yeah, like I don't know why I didn't get voted. Like Bush and Saya, you don't,
Mhm.
you aren't really the all RBI's leader, and you don't see that often, and not
Yeah.
make the All Star game. So
Yeah, that was something that we talked about a lot on Sunday night, me and Jacob. So yeah, that's kind of where we landed on that too. Was that for the players, it could be just depending on who it is. Because Saya did make the joke in one of his post game where they did ask him about it, and he's like, my schedule's booked," and then he was like kind of like laughing, and he's like, I'm just joking. But in my head, I was like, I bet he's kind of happy to just have a little bit of a break, especially a guy like
Yeah.
him who he might be traveling back home to visit his family, so he might be looking forward to that. And if he goes to the All Star game, then he might not get that. But I don't know, something interesting there.
Yeah, no, I think Brett put it well, and it probably depends on the player because, like he said, that's also a chance to spend time with all of those great players. And like last year, Imanaga and Skeens were talking to each other about their pitch grips. You're in this elite company getting to play in like a celebratory manner, but there's also guys that probably just want a few days off because at the end of the day, if you're an all-star or not, that doesn't like if Seiya Suzuki does not make the all-star team this year, which I assume he'll end up being a reserve when players switch out, which still is a snub because he wasn't in there originally. But there's probably guys that are like, I would rather just have it off because when you look at Seiya's season like in October, you're not going to say, oh, he didn't make the All Star team. He had a bad season. No, you're going to look at the overall stats. So while the All Star game is cool, especially for the fans, because we want to see as many of our guys as we can, we had what, four? I think, didn't we have the whole infield in 2016?
Yeah.
Like, that was really cool. That was something that we're like, hey, those are our guys. Those are the guys that we watch every day. And then fans are like, you guys get to watch these guys every day. And we're like, yeah, it's pretty cool. But the players probably not as deep to the players as it is to the fans.
They used to do like the final vote. You remember when they used to have like the last five and they'd have like the five most like pretty much snubbed players, and then you'd have 1 week to vote on all those guys who should be the last
Oh,
one on the team.
mm,
That used to be. I was talking to some friends too. You remember when you used to go to the game and you could just like bubble in the players on like the
I do not.
pamphlets?
I do not remember that.
Oh yeah,
Am I
okay.
you're getting old, dude. You're getting old.
Man, I remember going to Busch Stadium. Yeah, you would bubble it in on the pamphlet, and then you would drop it in like the ballot box. And there was really like no stats or anything on it. You just like picked it. It was just like a full vibes pick, but like that's how you voted. It wasn't online. All right,
mm.
now I'm aging myself. Sorry.
Yeah, no, now you're old. We d-
Unc Blake
Ja-
says Jack.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jack Blake. Yeah. Well, Jack does have a question before we keep going. He says, who's the hardest pitcher that you faced, Brett, this season? Whether it's velocity stuff or the most difficult at bat that you can think of.
Uh, um, man, that's hard. Closer, probably Will Childress. Um, he's the closer for the Biloxi Shuckers. Um, I I think Childress is the last name. It's like Children, so Childress, something like that. But
Childers, yeah.
uh, yeah, Childers. Really good stuff. Throws hard, good IVB on his fastball. Good curveball, good slider. Him. for sure he'd be up there. Man, there are a few guys from Pensacola in their staff that are gross. Pensacola's Miami's double A. I mean, they had a few guys that had big league time in that staff that were. I was like, what are you doing here? Like, dude. Um, oh, Grant Taylor, the guy that got called up from the White Sox. He throws like
Okay.
100, 99 to 101, right over the top. Good IVB. Like a 90-mile-per-hour slider that plays like a cutter, but it's a slider. His stuff was really good. I mean, even Hagen Smith, faced Hagen Smith too. I wasn't really overwhelmed by his stuff, but I mean, he was throwing 6 to 7, so it wasn't an uncomfortable at bat, but it was not an easy at bat. Like his stuff is very good. I would say like maybe those three, just high velocity, good IVB guys. I would say yeah, those would be like probably the first three that come to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, should we? Last time we spoke, we were talking about Kevin Durant. I know Jacob wanted to get to it at some point. We can kind of switch off baseball, talk a little basketball.
Yes,
the 2K rebuild, the 2K rebuild of sending KD to the Rockets was fulfilled. The prophecy was fulfilled.
It did, and right when it happened, the first people I messaged was you two, and Brett says, I feel like I've simmed this before, so maybe Brett's future career, because players all the time are like, okay, what will I do when I'm done playing? Maybe Brett needs to be the GM of an NBA team. I mean, I
feel like a lot of people like kind of expected that to happen.
Well,
like
yeah,
KD wanted out of the Suns, and there were only like 4 teams that really like had the money to match it, plus some sort of draft capital or some young talent. So, I mean, I'll take it though. I'll take it though. I mean, I'll take the credit. Like
Jack wants you to take the GM of the Mavericks. He wants Nico Harrison out.
Nico Harrison did some witch magic and got the first round pick, so now they actually look like an insane team. Like they look really good. Like the West is stupid good. Everyone in the West has made really good moves. Like I said, the Rockets re-signed Jabari Smith. They renegotiated Fred VanVleet's contract. They traded for Kevin Durant. They got Clint Capella. Like they are going to be a very good team. The Nuggets have done a really good job. They got Bruce Brown back. They traded Michael Porter Jr. for a cheaper version of Michael Porter Jr. and got a second-round pick out of it. They got someone else too in free agency. Like they've done a really good job, and they're going to be really good too. So I mean, there are a lot of teams. Like even the Clippers. Like the Clippers traded away Norman Powell, which is fine. The Heat got that secondary shooter that they really needed at the shooting guard position, but I think the Clippers are really good. John Collins is a really good player, and he fits really well with Zubac and James Harden. And now you can give some PT to the other guys, the younger guys on that Clippers bench. So there's been a lot of really good moves by teams in the West here. I think the Rockets might be, and I'm not saying this just to make you feel good, but they're probably like top 3 contender in the West right now based on their moves that they've done this offseason. So
and they got they were the 2 seed and they got knocked out by the Warriors, but we won't mention that. It's because they didn't have a big shooter. Like they didn't have that guy to get those late buckets. Instead, we had Jalen Green averaging 2 to 3 points a game. But he's gone. And yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic trade for the Rockets. I heard a report, don't know if it's true, but that, like, he kept declining trades until the price went down enough for the Rockets to get him, which if so, team player, which I've never heard team player and Kevin Durant in the same sentence before. Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. I mean, the whole starting 5 they have and the bench depth and, our draft capital is still solid. Obviously, we traded the big one away to the Suns in that pick, or in that trade rather. But with how stacked the West is, I feel pretty good about their chances. I mean, you tell me if we had KD, Thompson, and Sengun, and you don't go to the rest of our roster, that's already a really good team. And then you go on, I mean, where it feels like the Rockets are a deep squad that, I don't know, maybe I'm too optimistic, but I feel like they could be the best team in the West. Like, that wouldn't shock me if later this year you're like, yeah, or next year you're like, yeah, they finished with the number 1 seed. Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean the battle this year for the finals is literally just in the West. You think about the East. The only really good team in the East are the Cavs and the Magic. And even with the Magic, I still was not a big fan of that trade with for Desmond Bane.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no world where he's worth 4 first round picks.
No, that was a fleece job.
Like 2, I would have been like, yeah, he's good. I mean, he's an unbelievable. He's a solid player, but like he's not 4 first round picks. Jason Tatum's out for the year with an Achilles injury. Tyrese Halliburton's out for the year with an Achilles injury. I don't know what's going on in Milwaukee. Like,
Giannis to the Bulls. Giannis to the Bulls. Let's make it
yeah, but
happen.
the Bulls have to get rid of so much for Giannis. They would have to. The Bulls would literally switch with the Bucks. It would just be Giannis on the Bulls, and the Bucks would have a bunch of really young guys. Right now, the Bulls have a bunch of really good young guys. In Buzelis, I mean, you have to probably get rid of Buzelis. You'd probably have to get rid of Patrick Williams. In the perfect world, you'd want to keep Kobe White.
Yeah.
But still, you would have to get rid of a lot for that. So I don't know if they're in the right position.
No, the East is weak, and a lot of it's because of injuries. Like, the Pacers aren't going to do anything this year because they don't have Halliburton. The Celtics don't have Tatum, and then the Bucks waived Damian Lillard, which was shocking. And it makes sense. I get it, but it shocked me because, like, what do you mean they waived Dame? Good for him. Now he can go and get a second contract. Like, okay. And he got that money stretched out. But that was a move that I wasn't expecting. And reports are kind of mixed on if Giannis wanted that or not. It seems like he did. Not anything against Giannis or against Dame, but kind of just a dead space, holding up that money. So I'll be interested to see if he gets traded because, like you said, the haul they could get would be insane. And then you have the Nuggets, who their owner randomly in the middle of a press conference says, yeah, we could trade Nikola Jokic. And we're like, what? No one asked you. No one asked you if you're going to trade him. We did not. What? And the fact that you just brought that up out of nowhere makes me think that there's some traction there. I doubt it'll happen, but you don't just say that like out of nowhere without there being some truth to it. Right. Unprompted. That's not going to happen. That's the Yankees.
I couldn't even imagine the package that he would get.
It would be insane. It would be insane. And there's only 5 players on the. That's the thing about basketball. Like, there's only 5 players on the basketball court. It's not like you can trade them 9 top prospects or something. They're such different sports. It would have to be a picks loaded thing, which then we've seen with the Thunder. You don't need all of those picks because you already have those good young players. That's like Brian Cashman going up today and being like, hey, how's everybody doing? So we could trade Aaron Judge, and then we're like, you could what? It doesn't make sense. Though, yeah, like you said, the haul they would get would be insane. But are picks really that worth it? I don't know. I'm back and forth on that personally. For a lot of these big guys, if the trades would be worth it, unless they're obviously tanking for a year or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. The Bulls are out of it. I'm still waiting. I mean, this month we got football too, so we'll be shifting some NBA talk to some football talk. Do we have a temperature check on the Minnesota Vikings yet, Brett? Are we thinking about training camp yet, or are we still kind of a month out till we? Are you a Golfers football fan too, or are you?
No,
just strictly Vikings.
Yeah, once I pretty much just wait until the season starts. I don't really like look into what guys. I mean, like preseason. When I watched JJ McCarthy last year during preseason, I was like, oh, okay, like this guy's
sure
pretty solid. Like he looks pretty good. So I'm excited to see how he's gonna be after the injury. So because it might be a little bit different, but yeah, I mean, the Vikings have not really crossed my mind yet, and they probably won't until the season starts, unfortunately.
Until week 1, he's already so scared of week 1. I'm telling you, he is shaking. Week 1 is going to give him nightmares for years.
I mean, all I know is that I'm actually more confident because if we can do that with Sam Darnold, we can do it with JJ, based on, you know, the staff that we have. So I'm not really that nervous, honestly.
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun.
That would be fun. Well, I have really nothing else for this episode. If you guys have anything, I know it was a shorter one, but with the break coming up and rehab and injuries, I didn't expect it to go too long anyway.
Yeah, man. I mean, Cubs are hot. Took 2 of 3 against the Cardinals. Now we're playing against the Twins. So
Yeah, it should be a fun series. And the Twins are a team that I know, Blake, you mentioned it, but with how hot the Cubs are and the Twins aren't that hot, a sweep would do miracles on the likelihood of a trade, whether it's Griffin Jacks or Joe Ryan, and whether they're even available, which I think they are. Just the price is going to be more than any fan is going to be willing to part with. But Jack says no, Joe Ryan. Yes, Joe Ryan. We want Joe Ryan. But a sweep here, or even a series win, would really help because the AL is an absolute mess right now. It's an absolute mess. Even the AL East, like the Toronto Blue Jays have won 9 in a row. They swept the Yankees, and all of a sudden the Yankees went from a comfortable, it was like a 9-game lead in first place, and now they're 4 back. And it's like, oh, and then you have the Red Sox, who have won 7 of their last 9. One of the hottest offenses in baseball after trading Rafael Devers. So that division's a mess. Could the Orioles sell? Could the Red Sox sell? Like, that's the nice thing about, or the interesting thing I should say about the extra playoff spots is you don't know early enough who's going to sell. Like, we can't tell right now who's going to sell other than the Rockies and the Marlins. But eventually you would think within a few weeks, within a week or two, teams will start to realize we don't really have a shot. Let's ship off our player to contenders, which the Cubs should be active. They will be very active. But yeah, that Cardinals series, I know Blake and I talked about it on Sunday, but just the offensive outrage that they put on, just the stomping that they put down. It wasn't, oh, we won 3-0. I mean, it was 11-0. Like, I think they showed. I even had Cardinals fans admitting, yeah, you guys are the way better team, which we knew, but Cardinals fans don't normally admit that. So I think we kind of shut them up a little bit. And that offense is just so fun to watch. I was talking to somebody at the Red Sox game yesterday, and they said, you guys would probably be my pick for the World Series right now, just because that offense is so complete, and you get another starter, and you're set. And we had Justin Steele. So it's fun. I don't want to get too much into it, but it's fun. It's really fun to watch this team and how complete they are on offense. And you're only a piece or two away on pitching from being one of the best teams in baseball, if you aren't already.
Let's make it happen, Jed. Let's make it happen.
Let's do it. Anyways, appreciate you guys hopping on. That was episode 7 of the Cubbie Climb. Make sure to follow Cubs Insider on everything: Insta, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all of that fun stuff. Yeah, Jack says Eugenio Suarez on offense, that too. But yeah, that was episode 7.